I think my mother did exactly the right thing. I think it's absolutely extraordinary that any right-minded thinking parent should believe that it would have been an alternative.
Many people following the royal family are surprised by new rumors coming from inside the palace. Reports suggest that Princess Anne may be forming an unexpected alliance with Prince William, and together they could be planning something important linked to Princess Diana's lasting legacy. For years, there have been whispers about old disagreements, hidden tensions, and unresolved issues within the royal household. So, is this a carefully planned effort to set things right in Diana's memory? Or is it something more personal, driven by emotion and long-standing pain? But what do you think is really happening inside the palace? Is it justice for Diana's legacy, or something closer to revenge? Share your thoughts, and stay tuned for more royal news, stories, and updates. Anne and William royal collaboration. A few weeks before rumors of a new royal dispute started spreading in royal circles, a short but unusual phone call took place quietly behind closed doors. It was not made to reporters, government officials, or palace communication staff. Instead, insiders say the call was made to a lawyer linked to Princess Anne. The call was brief, clear, and very direct, like the kind of conversation that happens when a decision has already been made and someone only wants to confirm that nothing will block it. At the time, almost no one paid attention to it. But looking back, some believe it may have been the first sign of a bigger change inside the royal family. Princess Anne has always held a unique place in the royal family. She has seen its most difficult periods up close: broken relationships, trust issues, and public scandals that made headlines around the world. Through all of this, she kept a strong sense of discipline and privacy, rarely sharing her personal views in public. But even the most patient people can reach a point where waiting no longer makes sense. What seems to have changed is not just time, but Prince William's growing authority. Over the past year and a half, his role has expanded significantly. He is no longer just preparing for the future from the sidelines. He now makes important decisions and manages major responsibilities that directly affect the institution. He now oversees large estates, properties, and investments worth billions of pounds, giving him real independence and the power to shape his own direction. One particular change drew attention inside palace circles. Soon after the transition following Queen Elizabeth II's death in September 2022, a long-established family connection quietly disappeared from official records. There was no announcement or public explanation. It simply happened. It was replaced by individuals seen as more directly loyal to William than to older royal networks. Royal commentators saw this as more than routine administration. To many, it looked like a clear sign that a new era had begun. The message did not need words. The action itself was enough. Sources say Princess Anne closely observed these changes and supported the direction being taken. More importantly, these developments may have opened the door to conversations between Anne and William that had not happened for years. As the world moves closer to remembrance of Princess Diana's tragic death in the Paris tunnel, long-standing questions continue to resurface, even after many years of change within the monarchy. What unanswered truths still remain hidden beneath the surface? And how has time shaped the prince who once followed behind her coffin in front of the watching world? Let's uncover the striking details. Anne's role in revisiting Diana mystery. As the world edges closer to the 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's tragic death in a Paris tunnel, public attention is once again drifting back toward the unresolved questions and lingering mysteries that have surrounded the royal family for nearly 3 decades. Much has changed since that heartbreaking moment in August 1997. The young prince, who was once seen walking solemnly behind his mother's coffin through the streets of London, under the gaze of a grieving global audience, is now a future king. He is also a husband and a father, living a life shaped in many ways by that early and deeply public loss. Yet for many observers, the emotional and historical weight of that period has never fully faded. What makes the current wave of interest particularly striking is that it is not being driven by an official royal statement, a public interview, or a major televised revelation. Instead, it is being fueled by growing speculation centered on Princess Anne, a member of the royal family, widely known for her discretion and preference for privacy rather than publicity. Reports and palace-based whispers suggest that she has recently developed a renewed and serious interest in re-examining one of the most sensitive and painful eras in modern royal history. This alleged development has, according to insiders, created a quiet but noticeable sense of unease within certain royal circles. At the heart of this renewed attention lies a highly restricted and rarely discussed repository of historical material, the Royal Archives housed within Windsor Castle. This extraordinary collection contains private letters, personal diaries, confidential internal reports, and official correspondence that together preserve an unfiltered and contemporaneous record of the monarchy's inner workings. Unlike biographies, documentaries, or historical analyses produced years later, these documents were created in real time by individuals directly involved in the events themselves. They are not interpretations shaped by hindsight or external perspective. Instead, they are raw fragments of history, written in the moment, carrying the tone, urgency, and perspective of those who lived through it. For years, the public has believed it already understood the broad outline of the story. The announcement of separation in 1992, the intensifying media scrutiny, the widely publicized interviews and revelations, the eventual divorce, and ultimately, the devastating death of Diana in 1997. This sequence has been analyzed, retold, and debated countless times across books, documentaries, and public discourse. However, some sources now suggest that the materials preserved within the royal archives may contain a far more intricate and revealing account of what was unfolding behind closed doors during the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage. If accurate, these records could significantly deepen or even complicate the established understanding of those events. The implications of such a possibility are considerable. Long-standing questions about who was aware of specific developments, how internal warnings or concerns were managed, and what level of institutional involvement existed, have never been fully resolved in the public sphere. While official records and public statements provide a structured narrative, these private documents could potentially fill in the missing layers, offering detail that has remained hidden from view. Some insiders go further, suggesting that the archive materials may point toward difficult or controversial institutional decisions made during one of the most turbulent and fragile periods in modern royal history. Although such claims remain unverified, they continue to fuel speculation about what the full historical record might eventually reveal. It is within this sensitive context that Princess Anne's reported involvement becomes especially significant. Unlike commentators, historians, or journalists who approach the subject from the outside, she occupies a unique position within the institution itself. With both familial authority and potential access to restricted historical records, her interest, if accurately reported, carries a different kind of weight. According to these accounts, she is believed to hold the view that history should be preserved in its entirety, without dilution, reinterpretation, or adjustment for contemporary comfort. But how did the Duchy of Cornwall grow into a billion-pound empire under his leadership? And what hidden decisions inside the palace are now shaping its future in ways the public hardly ever sees? Let's take a closer look. William's position within the monarchy. Very few people fully understand the level of power now in Prince William's hands. While public attention usually stays fixed on royal ceremonies, speeches, and carefully managed appearances, a more important and quieter story has been unfolding behind palace doors. At the center of it is the Duchy of Cornwall, a vast estate built up over nearly 7 centuries. By 2025, it was generating around £30 million in a single year. It includes tenant farms, holiday properties, commercial investments, land rights across Dartmoor, and holdings connected to the Isles of Scilly. When all of this is combined, it forms an estate worth well over £1 billion. Today, every major decision tied to this powerful financial structure is under Prince William's authority. Observers of the royal family say he is exercising this authority in a careful and highly controlled way. There are no dramatic statements or public clashes, but instead, a quiet and steady pattern of change. One example that drew attention was the removal of Annabel Elliot from an important position. While it was noticed at the time, some insiders now see it as part of a wider and more gradual shift, rather than an isolated event. There are also reports that invitations once regularly extended to individuals connected to Queen Camilla's family have started to become less frequent. Access to major royal events is said to be less predictable than before. People who were once familiar and comfortably established within royal circles are now appearing less often, and in some cases not at all. What makes these developments especially notable is their subtle nature. No single decision is dramatic enough to cause public controversy or media shock. However, when all the changes are viewed together, they suggest a slow and careful redirection of influence within royal life. Instead of sudden exclusions, there appears to be a gradual narrowing of access and opportunities that were once considered secure and routine. Alongside this, another quiet but meaningful development has been reported. Sources suggest that Prince William has increasingly directed resources linked to the duchy toward causes that were strongly associated with his mother, Princess Diana. These include mental health awareness, homelessness support, and HIV advocacy. Diana championed these issues at a time when they were often avoided or considered uncomfortable for senior members of the royal family. During her lifetime, her willingness to speak openly about such topics helped change public attitudes and brought attention to groups that were often overlooked. Although she faced resistance from parts of the establishment, she continued to focus on these causes. Today, William's growing emphasis on the same issues is seen by many observers as a continuation and strengthening of her legacy. It connects emotional memory with institutional influence and financial power in a way that few royal figures have ever been able to achieve. At the same time, reports suggest that Princess Anne has been playing a quieter but important role behind the scenes, particularly in matters involving historical records and royal archives. While these activities receive little public attention, they are believed to contribute to a broader effort within the royal household to manage how history is preserved and presented. Taken together, these developments point to a royal family shaped by two powerful and parallel forces: the management of the past and the shaping of the future. Between these forces stands Queen Camilla. Her official position remains secure and visible, but her wider influence appears to be affected by gradual changes unfolding quietly within the institution. When she arrived at Westminster Abbey on May 6, 2023, wearing the iconic Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, it was widely seen as a symbol of acceptance and stability within the monarchy. However, the evolving dynamics within the royal household suggest that stability is being quietly reshaped rather than simply maintained. But was this shining moment really the final victory? Or did it simply hide deeper tensions still existing behind palace walls, ready to rise again? Let's explore the details. Monarchy's future shifts. When Queen Camilla entered Westminster Abbey wearing the well-known Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, many people viewed it as a moment of celebration. The sparkling crown, strongly linked to Queen Elizabeth and familiar from official portraits and even currency designs, seemed to signal that a long and difficult journey had finally reached its end. After years of public debate and royal controversy, Camilla appeared fully accepted at the center of the monarchy. From the outside, it looked like a clear moment of success and stability, almost like a final confirmation of her role within the royal family. However, within royal circles, symbols often carry meanings that go far beyond public celebration. What seemed like an ending may also have marked the beginning of a new phase, one less focused on the current queen and more focused on the future direction of the monarchy. Royal observers have long noted that the institution rarely changes through dramatic announcements. Instead, it evolves slowly through traditions, duties, and quiet decisions that most people barely notice. In recent years, attention has increasingly shifted toward Prince William and Princess Catherine, who are widely seen as central to the monarchy's future. The transfer of influence does not happen in a single clear moment, but through gradual changes in responsibility and carefully chosen roles. Since Queen Elizabeth's death in 2022, hundreds of royal patronages have been reassigned among working royals. While most of these changes have not made headlines, insiders suggest they may reflect long-term thinking about the monarchy's future direction. One day, the same tiara worn by Queen Camilla is expected to be worn by Catherine when she becomes Queen Consort. When that moment arrives, it will represent much more than a change of jewelry. It will symbolize the passing of royal importance from one generation to the next. In the monarchy, objects are not just decorative items. They carry history, and that history carries authority. Behind palace walls, this transition may already be unfolding in quiet ways. In 2025, King Charles gave William and Catherine the authority to issue royal warrants, connecting businesses and institutions directly to royal approval and strengthening its symbolic meaning. By giving the Prince and Princess of Wales this responsibility, the palace appeared to highlight where future influence will likely rest. As this continues, Queen Camilla's carefully managed public image may face gentle but growing pressure, while attention continues to build around the Prince and Princess of Wales, suggesting the monarchy's future direction is slowly but steadily moving toward them. But what are these quiet changes happening behind palace walls? And why are royal insiders now saying that small shifts, once overlooked, are beginning to change how she is seen within royal circles? Let's uncover the surprising details. Surprise changes around Queen Camilla. Royal history is shaped not only by what is carefully preserved, but also by what is quietly allowed to disappear over time. Behind the official portraits, public appearances, and grand ceremonies, the true story of the monarchy is often written through private decisions and subtle shifts in influence. In recent years, Queen Camilla's public image has been managed with the same care and attention given to the monarchy itself. However, some sources suggest that this image is now facing challenges, not because of a single major event, but because of a series of quiet developments that are becoming harder to ignore. Each change may seem small when viewed on its own, but together they are said to be influencing how Camilla is regarded within royal circles. One of the clearest signs was the sale of Ray Mill House in Wiltshire. For many years, the property was seen as her personal retreat, a peaceful place where she could escape from public life. Yet it was sold without any major announcement or public explanation. There was no official statement, no royal publicity campaign, and no special attention drawn to the move. The property simply disappeared from her list of holdings. According to sources, the sale may represent something deeper than ordinary financial planning. People do not usually part with a place that has served as a cherished sanctuary for many years, unless there has been a significant change in how they see their future. At present, Camilla enjoys access to several important royal residences, including Buckingham Palace, Clarence House, Sandringham, and Balmoral. However, this arrangement is closely connected to the reign of King Charles III. When his reign eventually comes to an end, the balance of royal property and influence is expected to change considerably. Prince William and Catherine would take control of key royal estates, including Sandringham and Balmoral, while Buckingham Palace would become their primary official residence. For Camilla, access to some of these properties would no longer come automatically through her position. Instead, it could depend on invitations rather than royal authority. Financial experts estimate that she may continue to retain Clarence House, valued at around £72 million, as well as Highgrove, estimated to be worth about £39 million. Yet even properties of that value may not fully replace the influence, status, and reach that come with her current role as queen. Meanwhile, reports suggest that the wider family network connected to Camilla may also be becoming smaller. Prince William is said to be reviewing the role and access of relatives linked to her. As a result, figures such as Tom Parker Bowles and Annabel Elliott are reportedly playing a less visible role within official royal spaces than they once did. Over time, a circle that was once broad and closely connected appears to be narrowing. Sources suggest this is not necessarily driven by personal feelings, but rather by a long-term effort to reshape the structure of the monarchy. Piece by piece, the institution is being reorganized with the future in mind. What remains is a gradual shift in influence, with important properties, privileges, and access being quietly reassigned in preparation for a future that may look very different from today's royal arrangement. Observers note that these changes are unfolding slowly but steadily, leaving a lasting mark on how power is exercised and how this period of royal history will ultimately be remembered. And then came the situation involving Sarah Ferguson, a development that quietly became another source of pressure, one that Camilla could no longer manage on her own. Why has her name surfaced in sensitive documents connected to Jeffrey Epstein? And how did an unconfirmed link evolve into a growing source of concern within royal circles, especially as the controversy surrounding Prince Andrew continued to place increasing pressure on the monarchy? Let's take a closer look. Royal fault lines. The name Ferguson appears in documents connected to the Epstein files that were released by the United States Department of Justice. There is no evidence that she committed any crime, and no criminal wrongdoing has been established against her. Even so, her name's appearance in those records has remained a sensitive issue, especially in the current atmosphere surrounding the royal family. The controversy linked to Prince Andrew and the wider challenges facing the monarchy have caused any connection, no matter how indirect, to attract increased attention and scrutiny. According to reports from sources familiar with palace discussions, Prince William has made his views very clear to Queen Camilla. He is said to believe that maintaining a close public relationship with Ferguson creates unnecessary difficulties for the monarchy at a time when public trust is already being tested. Those sources claim he has encouraged Camilla to distance herself from Ferguson in a visible and permanent way. People familiar with these conversations suggest that failing to do so could continue to weaken confidence in her judgment among some senior figures within the institution. In their view, the issue is no longer simply about personal friendships. Instead, it has become tied to concerns about reputation, public perception, and the long-term stability of the monarchy. Camilla, however, is said to see the matter very differently. From her perspective, Ferguson is not merely a royal acquaintance, but a longtime friend whose relationship with her stretches back many years, long before Camilla became queen. Those close to her say she finds the idea of ending that friendship deeply unfair and personally painful. To her, abandoning someone because of public pressure would feel like a betrayal of loyalty and personal values. As a result, the disagreement remains unresolved. Sources claim that the issue continues to create quiet tension behind palace walls, with some suggesting that it has gradually affected Camilla's influence within certain royal circles. While there have been no public confrontations, insiders describe a growing divide that has not disappeared and may, in fact, be becoming more noticeable over time. At the center of this delicate situation stands King Charles. According to reports, he has found himself in an increasingly difficult position as he tries to balance competing loyalties within his family. Earlier in the year, during February, he reportedly held a private telephone conversation with Princess Anne that sources describe as one of the most emotional yet carefully controlled exchanges the brother and sister have shared in decades. The conversation was not heated or argumentative. Instead, it was said to be calm, serious, and filled with an unspoken understanding of the challenges facing the family. Charles reportedly understood Anne's concerns and respected the reasoning behind her views, but he was unable to fully persuade her to change her position. The discussion is said to have lasted around 40 minutes before ending without any clear solution. Now, King Charles continues to carry significant responsibilities while also facing personal health challenges. After being diagnosed with cancer in February 2024, he underwent treatment throughout 2024 and into 2025. Although he has continued to perform public duties with determination and discipline, sources suggest that managing ongoing family tensions has become increasingly demanding. The burden of preserving stability within the monarchy while dealing with private disagreements is said to be placing considerable strain on him. In particular, expectations that he should protect Camilla from criticism while also addressing concerns raised by both William and Anne have reportedly left him caught between competing responsibilities. Beneath the official language of duty, loyalty, and service, a larger question continues to linger. Many observers wonder how long this delicate balance can be maintained before personal relationships begin to reshape the structure of authority within the royal household. Inside palace walls, every private disagreement now carries the potential to influence public perceptions, and every decision may have consequences that reach far beyond family matters alone. How could King Charles realistically protect Camilla if doing so would force him to confront both Prince William and Princess Anne, who appear firmly unwilling to back down? What hidden struggle for influence inside the palace turns this decision into something that feels less like a resolution and more like the beginning of a deeper divide within the royal family? Let's explore the details. Power struggle and loyalty. Protecting Camilla would mean asking Prince William to give back access and privileges that he had already quietly taken away. But inside palace circles in London, many believe that request would fail immediately. William would not agree, and King Charles is fully aware of that. It would also require asking Princess Anne to step back from her growing control over certain royal archives, a quiet authority she has built up over time. She would also refuse. Charles already knows this, even before any formal discussion begins. In reality, this would put the king in a position where he would have to openly oppose both his heir and his sister, just to defend a woman who is still, in the public mind, linked to the suffering of Princess Diana. The consequences would go far beyond politics. It would also become deeply personal, exposing long-hidden tensions inside the royal family that have been carefully controlled since the early 2000s. Charles would find himself standing alone, caught between different loyalties pulling in opposite directions. What makes this even harder is that he is not dealing with history from a distance. He lived through it. His past relationship with Diana still shapes how people see him today, and it is also the source of much of the emotional tension surrounding the family. In a sense, he is seen as connected to the original pain that now echoes back through the monarchy. This awareness makes it difficult for him to argue strongly in his own defense. According to sources, Charles does not react with anger in private. Instead, he shows a strange kind of acceptance, as if he understands why some people oppose Camilla, even when it goes against his own wishes. This creates a deep inner conflict. From this situation, two possible interpretations emerge. One is that there is quiet retaliation taking place, an effort to slowly weaken Camilla's position, driven by unresolved grief and long memories. The other is that what is happening is more planned and strategic, focusing on slow institutional changes rather than open conflict or dramatic confrontations. Either way, what is unfolding is not a sudden move, but a slow shift in power within the royal system. These changes happen quietly, through decisions and structures rather than public arguments, and they are likely to last longer than any personal emotions involved. What do you think about Prince William and Princess Anne's sudden alliance? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.